in the morning of October 7, Yahya Sinwar presented 3 scenarios to Hamas officials. The first scenario is that they will occupy parts of the western Negev in Israel, the southern parts of Israel, parts of the southern parts of Israel, and they will hold onto them. So Hamas believed that they'll be able to hold to these areas and negotiate with Israel for some, arrangements in Jerusalem, for instance. Second scenario, he said, was that Hezbollah will join in and will invade Israel from the north and will occupy parts of the Western Galilee and will hold to them too, which will give us even more leverage. Third option, and this is a quote by Gallant, okay? This is not an assessment now, is that Iran will join in to us and to Hezbollah and then we'll meet in the middle, meaning in the middle of Israel, meaning a total annihilation of Israel. This is what Hamas had in mind on the morning of October 7th. My story is that it turns out that Hamas is sending an official to Beirut to tell Hassan Nasrallah, we are going to attack Israel. With the big project comes the holidays, the high holidays in Israel, Rosh Hashanah and the rest, meaning September, October. Now, the reason Halil al-Haya, who's a close associate of Sinwar, went there was because there was an idea floated at the time during negotiations with Israel as to release of the hostages held by Hamas. I remind our listeners that there are 2 Israeli civilians that entered the Gaza Strip, at least one of them with mental illness, that entered the Gaza Strip, and there are also bodies that Hamas was holding. For instance, the Goldin family, Oron Shaul and others. So there were negotiations right up to October 7 with Hamas, and Hamas was using this to deceive the Israelis as to their intentions. And then one of the countries involved said, hey, we have a suggestion from Hamas. Hamas is willing to go for this deal with these and these conditions. And one of these conditions is that you allow Yahya Sinwar, the leader of Hamas, to leave the Gaza Strip and go abroad for some meetings. And this goes to the table of Yoav Gallant, who's the defense minister. And I'm not talking a year before, I'm talking really a couple of months before October 7. And Yoav Gallant is faced with the decision whether or not to allow Sinwar. And these are the days that, we're talking about an understanding. There are daily workers coming from Gaza. The assessment of the Israeli intelligence division is that Hamas wants long-standing stability in Gaza. They're saying, just allow him to go abroad. He's going to meet Hassan Nasrallah and others, the leader of Hezbollah, but then he's going to go back to Gaza. You need to, of course, assure him that he'll be able to return. Well, Gallant says, hell no. I'm not going to allow this. It's off the table. It wasn't recommended by the Israeli Shabak or the branch intelligence division. It was a demand made. And now we know that instead of Sinwar, Hamas sent Halil al-Haya to Nasrallah in Beirut to tell him that they are going to attack Israel. But Nasrallah refused to see Halil al-Haya. He was not as senior, and he simply ignored that visit. The only person to meet him was that Iranian attaché. And Nasrallah never heard from a Hamas official that it's actually going to happen at these dates. Hamas sent that message, but as far as we know, now I'm speculating, Hezbollah never got the message. And just imagine, Dan, what would have happened to Israel and to history if Yahya Sinwar would have been allowed to leave the Gaza Strip and would have met Hassan Nasrallah in Beirut? Now, there are 2 options. First option is that Israel would have been surprise attacked that morning from north and south. And I don't know where it would have ended. I asked Gallant about this in the interview. Do you think that Israel's existence was at stake? And he said, absolutely not. Well, I don't know. That's my answer as a journalist. I don't know, because I saw what happened on October 7th. I don't know what would have happened. I know that as an Israeli citizen, we definitely felt in the first hours, not knowing if Hezbollah is going to attack us, we felt an existential threat in the center of Israel. At least I felt an existential threat in the center of Israel, because I didn't know if Hezbollah is going to join in, if Iran is going to join in. But the defense minister is saying it's out of the question. But there's another possibility, which is much more realistic. It's possible, knowing what we know about the infiltration of the Israeli intelligence into Hezbollah, that if Sinwar would have told Hassan Nasrallah this is going to happen, Israel would have known about this. Because knowing what we know today about the level of infiltration, the fact that Hamas
meaning the level of Israeli infiltration into Hezbollah.
Right. It was Hezbollah that was leaking. As far as the Israeli intelligence, it wasn't Hamas.
It had leakage, that was that Israel had penetrated these Hezbollah network.
It's an incredible story of a what if.
Yeah. Wow.